Hello, everyone. Jeremy Einbinder here for Democratize the Media. Uh, it's been a week since my last video. I was planning to record my thoughts on my talk with Socialist Party USA presidential candidate Mimi Soltysik, who I talked to last week, a day or two afterwards, but I was held up. I was stressed out, and my family was consistently invalidating my political views, so it was hard to focus. So, Mimi, if you're watching this, I wanted to apologize for taking so long. This is my video, and don't worry, I am going to speak highly of you. So, let's begin. The Socialist Party USA is not a normal political party. It is a grassroots effort that uses the front of a political party to achieve its goals. But its goals, at least in this cycle, are not electoral goals. Mimi has said explicitly that his goal is not to get elected, and that even if he did get elected president, he could not change much on his own. So it is interesting to see a presidential candidate straight out admit that his campaign is not going to win, and that even if they could, he would not want to serve. So I took that to mean that it's more important to engage a grassroots effort to overthrow capitalism as the Socialist Party sees fit, rather than to have a presidential leader institute changes that would come close. Top-down change would only result in concessions to the public, not the public controlling what actually happens in society. And citizens are the people affected by society. Civilians might be a better word for it. They should be in control of their own lives. I took Mimi to mean that when he said things like he would want communities to control their own community and themselves. And interestingly enough, he does not even agree with the concept of the presidency, because one leader would not be enough to represent the needs of over 300 million people. Contrary to popular belief, socialism is not the idea of an authoritarian government regime controlling the entire economy. That would be against the principle of workers' control over the means of production, which Mimi emphasized over and over again. Workers should own the industry in which they work. You'd think that for all the times that conservative blue-collar workers, for example, rant against government control, that they would be in favor of socialism so as to control their own work, control their own livelihood, be their own boss, have control over who their boss is, and the like. But they don't do that because culture permeates in such a way so as to make the populace believe that capitalism is necessary. And what Mimi wants to do is help people understand that capitalism is not necessary, it is not inevitable, and that it is not irreversible, insofar as the people need to take control of the situation and try and advocate for ways to make society at large as democratic as possible. The job of a grassroots presidential candidate who is not trying to win is to basically listen to people and their struggles. It is a long fight for overthrowing the capitalist system. It is ingrained in our society and our culture, but it is not a given. It is not necessary, and it is not impossible to change. The campaign of Bernie Sanders, which basically focuses on social democratic reforms, to both mine and Mimi's dismay, is one that may be a modest step in the right direction in some aspects, but on the other hand, Mimi takes huge exception to Sanders' continued imperialist policies, such as the continuation of the drone program and Obama's kill list, and he is known for several votes of intervention, despite harping on the fact that he voted against the war in Iraq. He voted for funding the war in Iraq. He voted for intervention in Gaza and Kosovo. Mimi does not see war in the state capitalist sense as any responsible part of a socialist program. And it really raises the question, what is it going to take to actually stop killing people? It is not going to take executive leaders, because the system doesn't allow for people not to be war criminals if they're a part of it. Mimi is well aware that his tax dollars go to drone bombings, and he gets no say in how the government is funded. He doesn't decide that directly. Citizens don't decide that directly. And Mimi makes a point of saying that he is a working class representative. He works for a living. He is not like other politicians. He is not trying to be a politician in the traditional sense, because he is keenly aware that elections as they are now are inherently capitalist in their nature. The citizens do not have as much of a direct say as they would in a true representative or even direct democracy, but oligarchy as it stands, and capitalism as a natural extension, cannot be anything other than oligarchy. And that is why Mimi is for revolution, actual revolution, as opposed to reform. I could not record the most recent interview that I did with Mimi. We plan to record the next interview we do for YouTube and put up the interview. I plan to put up the interview either in a package or the interview in its entirety. Mimi, if you're still interested in doing another interview, again, I'm sorry it took me so long to get this reflection up, but if you're interested in doing another interview, let me know, and we will have it for you on the channel as soon as possible. I'm Jeremy Einbinder for Democratize the Media, fighting for a media where the creators are in control. Revolution, not reform. It's our turn soon. Solidarity.